Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday meditation gathering. I'm so glad you're all here to share this time together. This week, we have Emily Bennington Perry, who will lead us in meditation, and then we have 20 minutes of silence. After that, we'll open it up for sharing. We end at 10:45. Over to you, Emily.
Thanks, Dan. I love being here with this group. It's so nice to see you again and to be part of the real comfort and joy and familiarity that you all have. It's clearly something very unique here. So thanks for having me again. I thought today that we would do a meditation around the holy instant, which is a very beautiful and no doubt very familiar teaching of the Course for all of you. Because the Course's teachings on the holy instant are so important, and because it seems like we have so many opportunities to be stressed and short with one another, and the holy instant is something that can prevent that from happening, I thought that this would be a good topic for today. The Course says that the holy instant is an out of pattern time interval. So in other words, it's a moment where we set aside our grievances and the pain of the past and whatever's happening that's triggering us in the moment and enter into what the Course calls another state of mind in which we remember love, we remember truth, meaning God's reality, and we experience the miracle. So in the Course, miracle is primarily defined as an expression of love that has a healing effect. And so when we think of a miracle and a holy instant, we can think that they're very, very similar to each other in nature. Like miracles, a holy instant is the opportunity to bring peace to our own mind, to bring peace to the minds of others, and therefore it's an opportunity for us to bring peace to the world. A holy instant has the power to completely transform our relationships. I know of what I speak in this area. It can make us better people to be in relationship with. And so it means that this is a teaching that has the power to transform our lives. I keep telling my sons who are in the cocooning teenage phase where they just want to isolate themselves and withdraw from the world. I keep saying to them, I am far less concerned about the things that you think are stressing you out, like your grades. And I'm far more concerned about you learning how to be a good human. I keep telling them that relationships are going to be the key to their happiness, their ability to give and receive love. And so the earlier that they learn to become good at that, the better their lives will be. Keep wanting them to get that right. And so what I'd like to do today is to offer you I know we only do a couple minutes at the beginning, but just offer you a very, very quick overview of one of my favorite teachings on the Course about the holy instant, and then we'll dedicate our meditation time together and hopefully experience something of a holy instant ourselves. Course calls a joint holy instant a holy encounter, so we hope we can have something like that today. There are many, many, many discussions of holy instants in the Course, but one of my favorites, and the one I want to share with you today, is in the text, and it's called the quiet answer. And this is a section that talks about how much our minds are in constant conflict and how we'll never find the solution to our problems within the conflict of our current thinking. So that section says, the world asks but one question. Of these illusions, which of them are true? Whatever form the question takes, its purpose is the same. It asks but to establish that sin is real, and answers in the form of preference, which sin do you prefer? So what this means is that when we seek answers to our problems in the world, we're going to get the answers of the world. And we can count on the fact that those answers will be insane because they're always going to be saying some form of which illusion do you prefer. And so this is why the quiet answer section says, in your state of mind, solution is impossible, meaning in that state of mind where our mind is in conflict, solution is impossible. Therefore, and this is the important part, God must have given you a way of reaching to another state of mind in which the answer is already there. Such is the holy instant. It is here that all your problems should be brought and left. Here they belong, for here their answer is. And so, what we're doing in the holy instant is we're stepping out of those everyday conflicts, those everyday judgments, those everyday grievances, and we're stepping in to that quiet answer outside of time, outside of illusion, outside of the quote unquote sin of what other people have done, where we know all of our problems are already solved because God's will is already done. So this means we're letting go of our independent will where we think we know what the solution is, and we are accepting that there is a quiet answer. There is another way of being. So I'll be leading you through a guided meditation today. And as I go through this, I'll remind you of what Robert is forever reminding me, and that is to really do what the Course is asking. The workbook in the Course says that to say these words is nothing, but to mean these words is everything. And it actually ties this to the holy instant, because this is a lesson from the workbook. I think it's 182. It says, if you could but mean them for an instant. So if you could, to say these words is nothing, but to mean them is everything. If you could mean them just for an instant, there would be no further sorrow possible for you in any form, place, or time. Heaven would be completely given back in full awareness, memory of God entirely restored, and resurrection of all creation fully recognized. So that's a big promise of something that we can achieve in an instant. The workbook also says that when we are healed, we are not healed alone. And so let's join together as we meditate for a few moments and seek that holy instant together and seek the healing for ourselves and for the world that it desperately needs. So if you would, please close your eyes. Let's all take a deep breath together. And another. And to begin, let us think for a moment on the question the Course asks us. Is it conflict that you want? Or is God's peace the better choice? Which do you think will give you more? As the manual reminds us, a tranquil mind is not a little gift. And now say to yourself, I choose this instant as the one to offer the Holy Spirit, that His blessing may descend on all of us and keep us in peace. Course reminds us that it is impossible to accept the holy instant without reservation, unless, just for an instant, you are willing to see no past or future. You cannot have a holy instant until you are willing to let the past go and look without condemnation on the present. And so let us take this very instant now and let us think of it as all there is of time. Think of this moment as all there is of time. Nothing can reach you here from the past. And it is here that you and everyone, without exception, are completely absolved. It is here that you and everyone, without exception, are completely free and wholly without condemnation. So let us take this moment now and say to the Holy Spirit, this holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. Feel yourself joined with the Holy Spirit, knowing that His power will prevail because you have placed Him in charge. And with that, you prepare your mind for the holy instant by recognizing you want that holy instant above all else. It is not necessary that you do anything more than be determined to see, to put truth before illusion, and allow the Holy Spirit to lead. And the Course says this is what makes the holy instant so easy and so natural, because you learn how little is your part and how great is His. It is this that allows you to claim the holy instant anytime and anywhere that you want it. You can make the holy instant yours at once for the release from littleness in the mind depends on willingness and not on time. And so we join together, all of us, wherever we are in the world, making the holy instant all that there is by desiring that it be all there is. Let us allow the miracle to be what it is without the interference of our egoic thoughts. And in this willingness is also your acceptance of yourself as you were created and as you're always meant to be. In the holy instant, we see every relationship as what it will be when we perceive only the present, when holiness replaces the body in our awareness. And in this freedom, when we remember God, this holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction brings me peace. All truth is here, and we are grateful this is so. I'll leave you for the rest of our time to meditate on your own in whatever way that speaks to you.
Open your eyes slowly and come back into the room. We have 15 minutes left for sharing your reflections and your questions. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand or use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen, and I'll invite you to take yourself off of mute. And if you'd like to ask Emily a question or comment with confidentiality, put your message in the chat function at the bottom of the screen, and I'll read it out. Well, I'll just jump in here. Emily, thank you so much. That was going through the holy instant was perfect for meditation, because my mind oftentimes goes off into thinking about what I have to do later, and what I got to do, and all, busy. And then just to remember the holy instant brought me back to the present moment, and it was quiet. So perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. I love that teaching on the quiet answer, because I do think that that's how God's answers come, right? They don't come rushing in, it's come quietly, and in that space that we create for them when we move aside all of our churning of our own mind and let it in. Yeah.
Jan, and then Vivian.
I hope you can hear me. We've got scaffolding happening here. We've got works happening here, so it's rather noisy. Oh, you can't?
We can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you can. Good. I was saying we got building work, so it's a bit noisy. Emily, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Had a very big trauma that happened in my life or in our lives. I don't know, 8 weeks ago, and I've really been trying to do less and go into stillness. And anyway, I could go into stillness today with you leading this meditation, and I'm so grateful just to get back, be reminded of that place. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Course talks a lot about the quiet center, place in us where the Holy Spirit lives, and it's from the quiet center that we go out on our busy doings.
I know.
And I love that teaching.
Yeah, I think apart from anything else, with whatever trauma people have in their lives, you're dealing with that, but also dealing with this great grief of not being able to connect with that peace. I think, yeah. So anyway, it was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Vivian, take yourself off mute.
Hello, Emily. Thank you for that. It was just very interesting going into that state of peace. This is slightly different from what you were talking about, but not really. What came into my mind was a lovely quotation from a Russian guide who was leading our tour of St. Petersburg a few years ago. And she came up with a lovely little saying, which was, yesterday was history, tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift, which is why it's called the present. And I sometimes have quoted that in my grandchildren's birthday cards and things, just to remind them to try and be in the moment. It feels especially nice because this was a Russian guide, and we all have great anti-feelings against Russia at the moment. And so it was just a very healing thought to me. Thank you.
That's interesting. Yeah, as an American, I always have to make the distinction between what the government does and who the people are.
Yes.
And I think that's true for all countries, but I just feel it being in Britain as an American. And so I think that's that's number one. But I also agree with that quote. And I think that we can get so lost in what's happened to us and so lost in what I call future tripping, what's going to happen. I was doing that just this morning. I was painting some scenario in my mind of like what could happen. And it was in the middle of my meditation with Robert. And he was funny. He was like, okay, let's just sit down and think about every single thing that could possibly happen. And it's like you can exhaust yourself with that, right? So why even bother? You know, it's not here. So why do we get ourselves so torqued about it? So good quote. And I think the holy instant is just such a great reminder that that moment where there is no past, there is no future, there's just this present is available to us at any time. And the Course even says we can make the holy instant our whole life, where it's not just an instant that we grab, it's our whole life. We can see just the present and see as the Holy Spirit sees us without condemnation. And wouldn't it be great to see ourselves and other people that way?
Jim, take yourself off mute.
Yes, thank you, Emily. It was a lovely still meditation. And one of the things that I saw was, well, I was able to clearly see when thoughts came up, that were really trying to interfere with the meditation. I was able to see more clearly what was behind them. And one thought that often comes up in my mind when I'm in these periods of stillness is, why do I forget this? You know, why is it that whenever I make a decision, I don't simply go to the holy instant and seek an answer? Why do I often jump in, making a decision of my own? And then immediately after that was a bit of criticism. You know, well, in fact, it was actually implied in the question. In the question, there was a bit of self-criticism, but then I could see underneath that was actually a wish to be more in touch with the holy instant, to make decisions more from that still point. And I could turn it around. I could see that really what was being shown to me was actually quite a strong desire on my part to practice more. And so it turned the self-criticism into something which was something of value, a recognition of what is in me, wanting to be more in touch with the Holy Spirit. And that was a bit of, well, that was quite a change from normally, because normally I believe the self-criticism. I believe the comment that says, why don't you do this more often? You know, you should be doing this all the time. These comments that come up, and they were able to be dissolved simply by connecting with the holy instant you were speaking of.
Yeah. That's interesting. There was guidance that Helen received before the Course started coming through, and it was, you'll know, this isn't, I'm paraphrasing here, this isn't verbatim, but it's the idea that you'll know it's not from me when the tone is wrong. And what, so something snappy had come to, that's the word from the notes, it was too snappy. And Jesus was saying to her, like, you'll know it's not from me when it has that snappy tone. And so what you're hearing, like, why aren't you practicing more? Like that's you. And your voice, that's James talking to James. I think that if you know it's like really true guidance when the tone is more gentle. And also I'll just say very quickly that, you know, you mentioned like, why don't you do this more? And that's a question I've been really sitting with myself for a very long time. And I believe the Course when it says that we're actually afraid of love. So there's that famous quote from Marianne Williamson, it's not our darkness that we're afraid of, it's our light, you know, and I'm really starting to understand what that means, because we don't ask because we don't want to give up control. We don't want to say, look, Holy Spirit, you make this decision for me. Love, let God's reality step in and make this decision for me. We want to retain control. I'm hyper aware of that desire. And also, I think the course talks about we all have this pull towards God. We all have this pull towards love and truth. That's why we're here. You all showed up because you had that pull, but we're afraid of that pull because we're afraid it's going to uproot us, that we're going to be lost, that we're not going to be as discerning, that we're not going to be as sharp, that we're going to just let ourselves be run over by people because we have no more boundaries, because that's what it means to be spiritual. And we're afraid of that. And so we think that we need to step in and make the decisions to prevent that from happening. And what I'm trying to get to in my own life is this view that love is safe. Love is safe. And doing the loving thing is always going to be the safe thing. And I think if we really trusted that, we would ask more. Like, it wouldn't be this struggle, like, why are we doing it? We would just automatically do it because we knew it was safe. We're not asking because we think it's unsafe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I have something in chat, which I'll read out. It's from Annie Campbell. Thank you, Emily. I'm not going to attempt to compete with this mighty companion doggy. She has a barking doggy that she's looking after. So wanted to say I truly appreciated your sharing about your relationship with your kids. I share 6 kids, and they've definitely been my greatest teachers.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I get it. I have 2 teenage sons of my own, and they're their own lessons. And then Robert and I just got married, so now I have stepchildren, and their own lessons too. And so, yeah, I get it. I really do get it.
Who would like to share? Anthony, and then Teresa.
Yes, thank you, Emily, for taking us back to the Holy Instant. It's in fact, it's very funny because very early this morning when I was doing my lessons, and in many ways, most of the lessons, particularly when we're talking about feeling the love of God within me now, or the peace of God is shining in me now, we are always looking or going back, hopefully, to that, even for a brief moment, that holy instant. And I thought this morning, gosh, there are 2 minds well working here, the split mind, and there are 2 systems of thinking, and how difficult it is. But perhaps I should be much more, I would find it much easier if I actually became, you must become the observer. Don't get enmeshed, don't get embroiled in all this. But also what happened last night is that in fact, I have Course of Miracles online as well as in print through Kindle. And I was looking at the, watching very slowly because for some reason the internet went very slow last night. The opening page of the Kindle on my phone load up, and it loads up. And for the first time I noticed this middle section, which is new releases in the Kindle store. Let me just give you some of the titles, because this is really why we get so enmeshed, or some of us get so enmeshed in this other way of thinking. The titles, for example, the first one, Murder in the Family, In the Service of Death, the next book, The Villain, The Wrexham Killings, and so on. I mean, just one title of another that Kindle or the media is saying something we should, trying to influence in terms of our reading. The whole aspect of death and violence, it's all around us. It's just an interesting thought, and I thought I'd so become the observer and just remember how to laugh at all this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what I woke up with this morning.
I love that the course came in response to a need for a better way for people to get along, because we have become really bad at that. And it seems we always have been. Robert and I took my kids a couple of weeks ago to the Roman baths. I'm sure many of you have been there, having living in England, and I was just fascinated by these archaeological, this archaeological dig, and they pulled out what they call these curse tablets. And the curse tablets are where people would carve onto lead or pewter something that they were grieved about, and they wanted the gods to take revenge on people. So it was like, so and so, this was one, so and so stole my bronze vessel and I want it returned to me with the blood of the thief in it. Like how angry would you have to be to carve all of this into lead? And they got worse from there. One of them was like, I hope that whoever stole my such and such, his intestines are quite eaten away. And it's just like, wow, we're really vicious to one another. And we always have been. And so, yeah, you're right, Anthony. From our books to our movies to what we consume on social media, it's all disagreement and conflict, and we're embroiled in that. And so I don't know how people do it without a solid spiritual practice. I don't know how people would ever get along with each other without a solid spiritual practice. And you can actually see the lack of a spiritual practice in what we see all around us.
Well, even in our religious teachings, because the Bible talks about an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I mean, I know that can be misinterpreted, but still the violence is so endemic in what we're brought up in. It's
I know. Gandhi had that right. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. That's all it does. Yeah.
Okay, we've come to the end of our time together. Thank you, Emily. That was wonderful.
Thank
so
you.
Show your appreciation to Emily.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a great day.